And you're listening to The Brown Perspective. I'm Eduardo, and I'm here with El Mero Mero RO.
Hey, what is going on?
Not much. I know that you, along a lot of folks who listen to us or care about the future of our country, are probably looking at the headlines about what's going on in Congress with the two infrastructure bills. I know that this is the dreaded moment that I think you and I predicted when you have the moment of truth between the House Democrats or Democrats, those who are moderate and those who are more progressive in nature.
Hate to say I told you so.
Well, it's just a reality of politics and of the communities these folks represent. And in this particular instance, I know you showing Representative Katie Porter, who is from California, from the OC, and who in some ways exemplifies the tremendous change of a place that was a bastion of conservatism to now being a place where it's blue and Democrats are seem to be getting more votes. But you have Arizona, you have West Virginia, and you have two senators in particular, as well as some other members of Congress who are worried about their reelection next year in 2022.
This was my biggest criticism of the Democrats, even before. Once it was pretty clear that they were going to have control again, that it was only going to be a matter of time before they started splitting up between the progressives, those that are moderate, and then these. They don't use the term anymore, but these so-called blue dog Democrats, the more conservative ones, and so here we are. They're trying to pass an infrastructure bill, and look, I personally, when it comes to any spending that the government does at this point, I always wonder just how much money they can keep printing without it having any other adverse effects on the economy. But at this point, I realize that there's programs there that can help people. For me, for someone like me that's a progressive, it's never enough because they're not going to tackle real problems. Like it's not like they're going to give free healthcare and support other types of programs that really help people. So it's like breadcrumbs. But
Hmm.
whatever. That's what we're getting right now. And if we want to get more, then we need to fight harder next time. But okay, so let's just talk about the breadcrumbs. A lot of that money is probably going to go to businesses too, to the wealthy. And now here you have these two Democrats that are holding it up. So you can't even pass that, right? And then this guy has the audacity to call it a socialist spending bill. Is this like the complete bastardization of the word socialist to try to compare what this bill is doing to something like a socialist program? It's not even close, but they use the word socialist because they know that it. I don't even know why a Democrat would use that word. I mean, obviously the Republicans get triggered by such a word, but maybe he knows that a lot of people in the Democratic that vote Democrat also get a knee jerk reaction when they hear the word socialist.
Hmm. No, they do, and I think, and part of the reason is because this part of the bill, the one that they're trying to pass under reconciliation, will include things that are outside of the quote unquote traditional infrastructure, but which is support to key parts of the economy, things like lowering prescription drug prices, providing more supports and services as people are coming out of the pandemic. So it's interesting that yes, it's they're trying to use the boogeyman of socialism to derail this proposal.
So this is something that has been going around Twitter for the last few weeks, which is the definition of the rotating villain. I don't know if you've seen it. That this is in itself a strategy. That there's always someone that takes the blame for stalling or for not passing something. So, I have a lot of criticisms of the Democratic establishment, and I wouldn't put it past them to all be working collectively and then just saying that it's Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin that are holding it up, when in reality, a lot of other Democrats don't want to pass it as it is right now. They want to come back to the table and maybe decrease it. And so you have that going on. And so when it comes to Kirsten Cinema, the frustrating thing with her is that she doesn't even like come out and tell you what it is that she has problems with. At least not specifics. I haven't heard any. It's more like, I have a problem with the with the size of the bill.
I think part of it is, she represents Arizona and is a place where the Trump wing of the Republican Party has a strong base. I mean, they just recently went through another recount, and they once again showed that Joe Biden actually won. So I think she is trying to
A piece.
keep but the reality is that
But she runs as a
Republicans are not going to
Democrat,
vote for her.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So why would she? She thinks that she's going to be able to get some Trump voters to vote for her when her reelection comes up.
Maybe not Trump voters, but I think some more moderates. And I think for the Democrats, I think some of them are concerned about whether or not it's proper to spend that much on other priorities. And even though those are the type of priorities that, to your point, would only make a dent in what's actually needed, but they do feel that perhaps it's something that is not right for the moment.
Yeah, and that's the problem with when you get into a situation like that where these senators are more interested in their reelection than into actually trying to do what's best for, at least for the people that voted for them, right? Is she representing those that voted for her or those that she wants to vote for her next time around? Because it seems to me like she's more interested in the future as opposed to doing something right now. And what do you make of these protesters that followed her into the bathroom?
Yeah, I think that I mean that's what happens when you are in elected office, right? I think oftentimes there there is this type of opportunity for you to interact with the people whose lives are on the line because of your decisions. But yeah, I think it's obviously it might not be the type of thing that used to happen in the past, but at the same time, I feel that it's where our politics are, right? And on January 6th, you had a bunch of folks who went to the Capitol to express their disagreement, and I think protesting you in a public space like this, while it's probably not the thing I would do, I think people feel that they need to express their opinion somehow.
What if Trump supporters had done that to either Republican senators or Democratic senators? Would people have been freaking out even more?
Well, some of them have, and actually, there was a story not too long ago about a couple of California-based, not Republicans, representatives, Luke Correa and Norma Torres, who were actually harassed. And, well, Representative Correa was harassed in an airport by some Trump supporters. And so, yeah, so again, it's ugly. It's sort of it's showing some of the ugliness of our civil, not so, perhaps not so civil debate around these important issues.
Well, the problem is if Washington keeps being tone deaf to the real needs of people, this is going to happen more and more. And personally, look, I saw some headlines defending this. So my take is that yeah, just it's okay to put pressure on them. It's okay. I mean, it's a little bit. It is disrespectful to. It's like the paparazzi when they follow all the actors around, right? And then they camp outside their home at 4 a.m. If people were more like the paparazzi and followed these senators around like that, just hounding them to get stuff done, to produce results, I mean, I'd be okay with it. Obviously, as long as it doesn't turn violent. If all they're doing is harassing them, then why not? They're public servants. They're supposed to work for the people, and if people are dissatisfied, they can express their dissatisfaction to them. But along the same lines, I'm okay then if this also happens under a Trump administration, and I wouldn't just freak out and say our democracy is falling to pieces and is being destroyed because of Trump, right? like I wouldn't try to paint it differently just because Trump is in power. I just think this is a healthy part of democracy where you try to hold your elected officials accountable, make them uncomfortable, be disrespectful if you have to. Like, they don't care when they're taking thousands or millions of lobbying money and voting against your interest. I mean, that's incredibly disrespectful, and they do that all the time. So it's just that's the little bit of way that people can still exercise their power. And you know, it'd be good if more people were doing that. Then these politicians would be held more accountable.
Yeah, I mean that's a perspective. I think things do get more disruptive when people are showing up at elected officials' homes and kind of being more out of sort of the out of the bounds of the public sphere. But you're right. I think sometimes, and I think that's the thing too. Like sometimes these politicians may not be exposing themselves to hear from constituents, or at least constituents who have very different or varying views on what's before them.
Yeah. Now, having said that, I will say that if you get enough of this type of behavior, it could eventually turn violent, because what you're going to get is protesters and then anti-protesters, right? So these activists caught the senator by surprise. But if it happened enough, then those that do support her would also come out to show their support for her. And then you get these groups of people, you get the adrenaline running, and all it takes is one knucklehead to do something stupid, and then next thing you know, you have violence. So yeah, I'm aware that saying that I'm okay with this type of behavior, I'm also aware that it could lead to violence. So I don't know where that line is. I do know that we need some of this. So yeah, just wanna put that caveat there that I'm not promoting, or that at least I'm aware of the potential consequences of this, the trade-offs.
Excellent. Our legal team was very happy that you made that statement.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a process that may speed up or may slow down depending on what the negotiations are. I know that from the progressive side, there is some openness to lowering the price of the second build of the $3.5 trillion just by maybe lowering the amount of years that each program will be funded for. But regardless, I think this is the biggest opportunity for Joe Biden and the Democratic majority to pass their agenda before nothing gets done because of the midterm elections next year. So the reality is that we'll see what happens, and then whether something passes or not. I think that's what's gonna dictate a lot of what the messaging and the campaigning is going to be in 2022. Whether, hey, we were able to pass this and look how good we are, reelect us, or oh, we couldn't pass it. Now we need to make sure that we stay in power, or we get the people that we need to in Congress who will need to pass. I do have to say that it's interesting that oftentimes conservatives may not want to invest in these types of programs, but when they do pass and all the benefits do come to their constituents, they're happy to take credit for it. So we'll see. I think that obviously the both bills have the potential to create jobs and opportunities, and we'll see if our elected leaders can get it done in the next few months.
I'll just say that the progressives are going to cave, and then afterwards they're going to try to explain how it is that they fought and they did all they could, and that we should be happy with breadcrumbs, because that's what AOC did this week in that video. That another performative piece of art from AOC.
Well, I guess you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. All right, everyone. If you enjoy our content, make sure to check us out. We are Brown Perspective. We're on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Nos vemos.
Ciao.